The Forde-Yard Dash, major trouble for these college football powerhouses. In the world of college football, excitement often accompanies the kickoff of a new season, but not all teams live up to hype and expectations. Recently, Ralphie VII made headlines with his first spirited run around Folsom Field, but beyond that singular bright moment, numerous teams are facing harsh realities. https x.com/cubuffs/status 196585381079671. Have you heard all those off-season assurances about your favorite college team? The stories of how this year would be transformative? Promises of a breakthrough? Of brighter days on the horizon? Well, it's time to reassess those narratives. As enjoyable as it can be to follow college football, the sport is intertwined with both astonishing highs and crushing lows. The initial excitement is quickly fading, revealing the stark disappointment faced by teams like UCLA and Virginia Tech, who discovered early on that their season outlook was less than rosy. https://collegefootball/college coaching carousel moving early UCLA Virginia Tech firings. Others are now realizing a painful truth. They may not be as formidable as they once believed. Let's delve into a few key examples. 1. The Palmetto State disappointment. Clemson, which entered the season ranked number 4, has shockingly plummeted to a 1-3 record, marking their worst start since 2004. https://collegefootball fans roast Dabo Swinney, Clemson, dropping 1-3 loss, Syracuse. Meanwhile, South Carolina kicked off the season at number 13, but currently stands at 2-2, with their victories coming against teams that have yet to win a single game. Virginia Tech and FCS opponent South Carolina State. If current trends continue, their end-of-season face-off might aptly be dubbed the Bitter Bowl. The sobering reality is that both programs came in overhyped. Clemson, in particular, never truly deserved its status as a national championship contender. https://www.si.com/collegefootball/illustratted college football/preseason top 25 Clemson Tigers. While South Carolina has too few standout players outside of Lenoris Sellers. Dabo Swinney's increasingly stale responses to discontent from fans are starting to feel less convincing, especially as Clemson continues to falter week after week, culminating in a resounding home loss to Syracuse. While credit goes to the Orange for a solid victory, the narrative is that it's Clemson who seems to be facing a steep decline. Current statistics paint a grim picture for the Tigers. They rank 14th in the ACC for total offense and 11th for total defense. They sit at 16th for converting third downs and are tied for last with only one play exceeding 40 yards in scrimmage. In an eye-opening twist, they are also at the bottom for turnovers committed, tallying up to 7. On the other side, South Carolina has managed to score only 10 touchdowns this season, with 4 of those coming from their defense or special teams. The Gamecocks failed to find the end zone in the latter halves of their matches against Vanderbilt and Missouri. Presently, they sit at an abysmal 130th in the nation for rushing offense, averaging just 80.3 yards per game, and hold the 131st spot with a meager 2.59 yards per carry. South Carolina critically needs a win this Saturday at home against Kentucky, since the following 5 games will be a tough challenge against internationally ranked top 15 teams. Although Shane Beamer has pulled off unexpected wins before, the current roster may not possess the firepower to pull off similar upsets this year. 2. Trouble brewing in North Carolina. If TCU were an NFL team, they would likely dominate their division with a stellar performance. Yet the overzealous Bill Belichick era is attracting derision due to an underwhelming start characterized by significant losses against power conference rivals. Juxtaposed with unremarkable victories over lesser opponents, the Tar Heels found themselves outpaced with a total score of 82-23 in recent matchups against TCU and Central Florida, underscoring how thoroughly outmatched they were. Belichick's decision to stick with Gio Lopez as the starting quarterback seems increasingly questionable, especially as he has struggled with 4 turnovers during the losses and holds a pass efficiency rating of just 122.42 for the season. In contrast, backup Max Johnson, who took over briefly during games against TCU and UCF, possesses a higher efficiency rating of 136.27 without any turnovers to his name. This upcoming open date might present a chance for Belichick to reevaluate his quarterback situation, but given the sheer number of gaps in the roster, it might not lead to a substantial change in fortunes. Achieving 6 wins, even with a gentler schedule devoid of Miami, Florida State, and Louisville, appears to be a daunting challenge. 3. Illinois takes a beating. A stunning 63-10 defeat at the hands of Indiana marked a dismal moment for the number 9 ranked Illini. College football, Indiana makes a loud statement in beatdown of Illinois. Spec this CFP contender, showcasing a trend that often plagues teams coached by Brett Bielema. Historically, when Bielema's teams start the season with a high ranking, disappointment tends to follow. For instance, during the 2010 and 2011 preseason rankings with Wisconsin, his teams improved slightly, but there have been numerous cases of steep declines. The Arkansas 2015 team, starting at number 18, fell from grace after just 2 games, and similarly, Wisconsin's 2012 squad dropped from number 12 to completely unranked by midseason. 4. Florida's struggles. The Gators have completely fallen short against their in-state rivals. After suffering defeats against Miami and South Florida, they now face the real possibility of another loss to Florida State later in the year, while also dodging a matchup against the now 3-0 Central Florida team. As the season progresses, Florida's offensive output has trended downward each consecutive game, from 55 points in their opening match to just 7 in their latest. Not only have they decreased their yard production from 6.1 to a dismal 2.7 yards per play, but 5-star quarterback DJ Lagway has struggled, throwing 5 interceptions during the game against LSU and only managing a mere long completion of 12 yards against Miami. While it's true that they face tough competition in the last couple of games, the devastating upset against USF in Week 2 significantly hurts their standing. Not only were they expected to win that match, but given the current schedule, it's a defeat they simply couldn't afford. The hope for a miraculous turnaround under coach Billy Napier seems far-fetched at this point. 5. Wisconsin's woes. What seemed to be a shaky tenure for coach Luke Fickell has reached a new low with a disappointing 2-2 record following a painful home loss to Maryland. Fans began expressing their dissatisfaction vocally, booing the team and calling for Fickell's firing, a sentiment that now feels inevitable. The Badgers' losing streak against power conference teams has now reached 7. October is likely to present more challenges post their bye week as they take on formidable opponents like Michigan, Iowa, and Ohio State, all of which hold a combined record of 13-2, followed by additional challenges in November against undefeated teams Washington and Indiana. 6. Oklahoma State's misery. No fanbase can compete with the despair felt by Oklahoma State supporters, where the grimness is profound after yet another disappointing home loss to Tulsa, marking 11 consecutive losses to FBS teams. Coach Mike Gundy's tenure is hanging by a thread, and if the tide doesn't turn soon, it appears inevitable that change is coming. While he hasn't lost any Big 12 games this season yet, facing Baylor this Saturday could realistically challenge that streak. 7. Nebraska's longing for victory. The Cornhuskers are now facing a staggering 28-game losing streak against ranked opponents, a startling statistic for such a storied program. Suffering an embarrassing loss on the ground against Michigan, where they allowed 286 yards and 3 touchdowns, it was a familiar scene of untimely mistakes and missed opportunities. This trend echoes the struggles of the previous coaching staff, leaving fans with little differentiation between Matt Rhule and Scott Frost's tenures thus far. Though Nebraska holds a 3-1 record and has favorable upcoming matchups, they still need to prove they can contend with significantly stronger teams to make a worthwhile impact in the Big Ten. Utah's offense in a slump. Despite an initial surge where they averaged over 500 yards against UCLA, Cal Poly, and Wyoming, the Utes were brought back down to earth by Texas Tech. https://si.com/collegefootball. Texas Tech rises to Big 12 favorite behind big money roster backup QB depth. The much-anticipated redirection towards offensive efficiency was dashed as they floundered once more. Utah managed only one play, spanning over 14 yards, while transfer QB Devin Dampier threw for a disappointing 162 yards, yielding no touchdowns along with 2 interceptions. While Texas Tech appears to be a stronger contender among Big 12 teams, fans were optimistic that the tides would have turned in Utah's favor this season. 9. Arkansas defensive failures. The Razorbacks' recent performances have raised alarm bells, as they surrendered a total of 73 points, along with 964 yards in their last 2 games against Mississippi and Memphis. The game against Memphis highlighted just how vulnerable their defensive strategy is, allowing 290 yards rushing. Such poor results signal trouble ahead, especially as they will now face off against several ranked teams in their upcoming games. If coach Sam Pittman fails to orchestrate a defensive turnaround, his time in Fayetteville could face a bleak conclusion. 10. The Big 12's ascendance. The Big 12 wrapped up its latest confrontations with the ACC on Saturday, managing an impressive 6-1 record against them. As the season unfolds, the question remains whether such performances will affect their standing when the College Football Playoff Selection Committee convenes. Currently, the ACC is reaping the rewards of notable non-conference victories, notably attributed to teams like Miami and Florida State. If the season were to conclude today, my imagined playoff predictions would organize the teams as follows. Seeding: 1. Miami, 2. Ohio State, 3. Oklahoma, 4. Florida State, 5. LSU, 6. Oregon, 7. Indiana, 8. Texas A&M, 9. Vanderbilt, 10. Georgia, 11. Texas Tech, 12. Memphis, first-round matchups. Number 12 Memphis at number 5 LSU. Number 11 Texas Tech at number 6 Oregon. Number 10 Georgia at number 7 Indiana. Number 9 Vanderbilt at number 8 Texas A&M. Quarterfinals: Memphis LSU winner versus number 4 Florida State in the Cotton Bowl. Texas Tech Oregon winner versus number 4-3 Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. Georgia Indiana winner versus number 2 Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Vanderbilt Texas A&M winner versus number 1 Miami in the Orange Bowl. Also considered: TCU, Georgia Tech, Iowa State, Texas, Michigan, Mississippi, Tennessee, Missouri, Mississippi State, Alabama, USC, South Florida, and Notre Dame. For those eager to keep up with the college football buzz, tune into SI's new college sports podcast, Others Receiving Votes, available on platforms like Apple, https://podcasts, https://podcasts, ID 184741833, and spotify.com/show/SI's YouTube channel. Additionally, catch episodes on SI's YouTube channel at Sports Illustrated/videos. Are you surprised by any of these developments? Which teams do you think will turn their seasons around? Share your thoughts in the comments below.